Inside the towering headquarters of a global tech empire, a silent boy curls up on the cold marble floor. People think he's not normal, he's feared by many. No one dares to approach until a black janitor steps forward and does something miraculous. What she doesn't know is that the boy is the CEO's son. Before we go back, let us know where you're watching from. And subscribe, because tomorrow I've got something extra special for you. Ma'am, step back. He'll lash out. The security chief's voice, a gravelly whisper, pierced the grand, silent foyer. Maya Thorne froze her phone, still pressed to her ear, the marble floor reflecting her startled face. At the heart of the commotion, a small boy with tightly coiled black hair sat hunched beside the colossal, abstract sculpture arms wrapped around his knees, swaying gently. His eyes were wide, unseeing. But his small hands, however, flitted restlessly over the polished surface. Around him, 3 stern-faced assistants stood uncertainly. One woman was murmuring into her earpiece, "He's in a state again. Where's his therapist?" The boy's soft, rhythmic hum was almost swallowed by the hushed immensity of the building. Samuel Sam Green took a slow step forward, his work boots squeaking faintly. "May I?" The chief stepped into his path, a hand held up. "That's CEO Thorne's son," he hissed. "Do not interfere." The last staffer who tried was transferred before lunch. But Sam wasn't listening. He wasn't focused on the anxious executives or the security camera's unblinking red eye. He was watching him. The way his fingers traced an invisible pattern on the floor, a rhythm only he seemed to perceive. The way his breathing hitched with every shadow that fell too close. "I won't speak to him." Sam said, his voice a low, steady rumble. "I'll just sit." And he did. Right there on the cold marble, a careful 5 feet away, still in his maintenance uniform and scuffed boots. He reached into his cart, pulling out a small, amber-tinted bottle of hand sanitizer. Then, without a word, he squeezed a dollop into his palm and, cupping his hands, began to blow. Tiny shimmering spheres emerged. 1, 2, 3. The boy stilled. His rocking slowed, his humming softened. He watched, utterly captivated, as the iridescent orbs drifted upward, some bursting into nothing, others floating lazily like unhurried dreams. Sam didn't look at him. He didn't ask anything. He just kept blowing. From the overlook above, Maya Thorne stood impeccably tailored in a charcoal suit that cost more than Sam's annual salary. Her dark hair was pulled into a severe bun. Her arms were crossed, but her gaze, usually an impenetrable fortress, was riveted on the scene below. Maya Thorne, formidable CEO of Apex Innovations, had brokered billion-dollar deals and navigated treacherous corporate waters before her morning caffeine hit. But now, watching a maintenance worker soothe her son with sanitizer bubbles, she found it hard to breathe. Leo, her son, her enigma, her profound responsibility, and the man, what was his name? Green. She took the executive elevator down. When the doors parted, she stepped into the foyer like a general assessing a battleground. "Mr. Green," she stated, her tone sharp. Sam rose slowly. "Ma'am, I need to speak with you upstairs. Now." Her eyes flicked to the boy. Leo, who was now lying calmly on his side, his gaze tracking a single bubble as it hovered just above his face. I wasn't asking," Maya cut in. Then to her chief of staff, "Call Dr. Anya. Have her check on Leo immediately." She turned her heels, clicking decisively, not waiting to see if Sam followed, but he did. Her office felt like glass and ambition. "Close the door," she commanded. Sam complied. For a long moment, she said nothing. She just scrutinized him, as if trying to discern what forgotten corner he'd emerged from. "Who taught you that?" she asked at last. "The bubbles, the whatever that was." Sam met her gaze without a flicker. "My daughter," he said simply. "She has a profound sensory sensitivity. I used to teach special education before." He trailed off. No need to offer more than she sought. Maya leaned forward. "Let me be explicit. My son doesn't connect. He doesn't play. He doesn't respond. Not to child psychologists, not to specialists, not to me." "And you?" Her voice held a barely perceptible tremor. Blew some bubbles and he went quiet. Sam didn't answer. He didn't need to. "I want you to work with him," Maya said finally. He blinked. "Excuse me, once a week, twice, if feasible. I'll compensate you generously. I'm a maintenance worker, Miss Thorne. I can change that. I don't require charity. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering a position." Sam drew a slow, deliberate breath. What he needs isn't a position. Something flickered in her eyes. Not guilt. Perhaps a raw ache sharpened into resolve. "He has the finest care money can procure," Maya snapped. Sam's voice was gentle. "Maybe that's the issue." Silence. the kind of silence that reconfigures the space between people. Then he added, "If I agree, it's on one condition." Maya raised a sculpted brow. "I don't work for you. I work with Leo, and when I'm with him, no observers, no hidden cameras, no clipboard therapists hovering." She studied him long enough for him to wonder if he'd just jeopardized his livelihood entirely. Then slowly, Maya nodded. "My executive assistant will contact you." Sam gave a slight nod. "Then we'll see if he's ready." As he opened the door to leave, Maya called after him. "What color were those bubbles?" Sam paused, turned back. "Golden," he said. "Always start with golden. It eases the disquiet." The door closed with a soft click, but the echo of his words remained like a truth whispered in a cathedral long devoid of prayer. "I don't need you to fix him." That was the first thing Maya Thorne said when Sam arrived at the penthouse, less than 48 hours after their initial encounter. No greeting, no handshake, just that. Sam paused in the polished foyer, his daughter Chloe's small hand nestled in his work boots making a soft squeak on the immaculate floors. He surveyed the space. Stark white walls, glass partitions, sharp angles everywhere. No softness, no warmth, just precision and immense power. "I don't fix children," he replied quietly. "They aren't broken." Maya blinked. Just once. Her arms were crossed tightly, but a muscle twitched along her jaw. "He's in his room," she said, "through the hall on the left." Sam turned to Chloe and crouched. "You okay to draw for a bit?" Chloe nodded, pulling a small art kit from her backpack. "Is he the quiet boy?" Sam smiled. "The very one." "Then I'll be quiet too," Chloe whispered, tiptoeing toward a corner of the vast living room, as if it were a temple built of light. Maya watched the exchange, an unreadable expression on her face. "She's compliant." "She's compassionate," Sam corrected. He walked down the hall without waiting for permission. The door to Leo's room was ajar. He knocked gently before pushing it open. It was a sanctuary. Towering windows, sheer white drapes, toys arranged with meticulous order. And there, curled in the corner like a hushed question, was Leo, his small head pressed against the window pane, watching the city below as if it might dissolve if he blinked. Sam didn't speak. He sat down slowly about 10 feet away, pulled a small pad from his jacket, and began to sketch. 5 curved lines, a cloud, some gentle rain. Leo didn't turn. After 3 minutes, Sam held the drawing up slightly, then set it down beside him and waited. Nothing, just the sound of a grandfather clock ticking too ponderously for such an opulent home. Then a shift. Leo rose without a word, glided across the room in slow, deliberate steps, picked up the paper, and settled right beside him. Maya, observing silently through the cracked door, covered her mouth with her hand. She hadn't seen Leo willingly sit beside anyone in nearly a year. Sam didn't look at the child. He began a new sketch. This time, a golden bubble floating above a boy's head. Leo reached for a charcoal pencil. Not a word was spoken, not a command given, and yet something profound was unfolding. Wordless, weightless, and impossible to disrupt. 15 minutes later, Sam emerged from the room. Maya was waiting, arms crossed, but her face had softened. "He drew with you," she said, as if needing to hear herself articulate it. "He initiated communication." Sam replied. Maya's brow furrowed. He didn't utter a sound. "Speaking and communicating," Sam said gently, "aren't always the same thing." She didn't answer. Instead, she turned and walked into the kitchen. "Would you like something to drink? Water is fine." She poured it herself. Not through an automated dispenser, not with a household manager. Just her crystal glass, steady hands. "I don't know how to reach him," she said, sliding the water across the counter. Sam didn't pick it up. "Have you tried allowing him to reach you?" Maya stiffened. "I've exhausted every maternal effort. Therapy, dietary specialists, sleep consultants, speech therapists. I flew in a renowned behavioral expert from Geneva who commands $25,000 a week." Sam finally picked up the water and took a sip. "Sounds like you've engaged many people to talk to him," he said. "But who listens? I listen," she snapped. "I restructured my entire existence for him." "Did you realign your soul?" The silence that followed wasn't hostile. It was hollow, like the echo of a question she hadn't wished to confront. "He was 2 when he stopped speaking," Maya whispered. "One day he was babbling, identifying colors, giggling at pigeons. The next, nothing, not even eye contact." Sam leaned on the counter. What occurred? Her eyes flickered. A medical anomaly. Post-vaccination, a high fever. The pediatrician said it was correlation, not causation. But I kept asking, was it my failing? Did I overlook something? Sam nodded. Parents always do, even when it's not theirs to bear. Chloe wandered in, holding up her drawing, a picture of 3 figures, her dad, and a boy with large, deep eyes. "I made this for him," she said, "but only if he wishes it." Maya looked down, surprised by the gentle maturity in the little girl's voice. "Would it be acceptable if Leo joined us for a meal sometime?" Sam asked. "Dinner." Maya's tone sharpened. "In a public setting? No." "Here," Sam said, "safe, familiar. If he observes Chloe eating, he may feel invited." "I am not hosting playdates," she replied tightly. Sam didn't flinch. "I'm not requesting a playdate. I'm offering him a pathway." Maya folded her arms again, but something in her posture was different now. Less defiance, more apprehension. "I'm afraid of making a mistake," she admitted, almost inaudibly. "I don't know how to embody the kind of mother he needs." Sam set his glass down. "Then it's fortunate he doesn't require perfection. He just needs you to cease trying so diligently to be a CEO around him." That line hung in the air like a discarded crown. Sam turned toward the door. "We'll be here next Thursday, around 7. "He doesn't eat truffles," Maya called after him. Sam smiled faintly. "Neither do we." As the door closed behind them, Maya stared down at Chloe's drawing, still on the counter. 3 people holding hands, 1 golden bubble floating above them, all a caption written in crayon. "Safe." She traced the word with her finger. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like weeping. She felt like listening. "Do all wealthy people reside in art galleries?" Chloe's voice echoed softly through the grand foyer of the Thorne penthouse, her sneakers making a quiet scuff against the polished floor. Sam chuckled, steadying a picnic basket in one hand and a soft throw blanket in the other. "Not all of them, just the ones who've forgotten what a living space is for." Maya appeared at the top of the staircase, barefoot hair loosely gathered, a rare softness in her demeanor. "I heard that." Chloe blushed. "Apologies, ma'am." Maya smiled genuinely. "No apologies necessary. You're correct. This place has too many barriers and insufficient comfort." Sam raised an eyebrow, surprised. That sounded dangerously close to self-awareness. Maya descended the stairs. "Don't get accustomed to it." They gathered in Leo's room at twilight. Sam spread the picnic blanket over the floor while Chloe arranged small bowls of snacks. Blueberries, cheese sticks, plain crackers. Nothing hot, nothing with strong odors. Everything soft, everything reassuring. Leo sat in the corner, legs tucked under him like a forgotten toy. But his eyes weren't blank this time. They tracked Chloe's every movement. Sam placed a small portable speaker and tapped his phone. A soft, melancholic cello melody drifted through the room, Rachmaninoff, slow and poignant. Chloe placed a blank sketchpad between herself and Leo, then quietly began drawing. A tall tree, then a moon, then a boy beneath the branches. She didn't speak. She didn't look at Leo. She just drew. Leo watched his fingers twitched. Sam opened a tin of charcoal pencils. "Golden first," he said, gently placing the pencil closer to Leo than anyone else. Maya watched from the doorway, arms crossed, but not in defiance this time. In defense of what she wasn't sure, perhaps her own emerging hope, Leo leaned forward 1 inch, then another. He reached for the golden pencil, barely breathing, as if even a sound might shatter the moment. Then swish, he began to draw. No one said a word, not even Chloe, just the faint rhythm of charcoal on paper, the soft breathing of a boy rediscovering his expression through art. Sam turned to Maya and whispered, "This is what serenity looks like. It doesn't arrive with fanfare. It arrives with quietude." Maya swallowed hard. "Why doesn't he speak to me?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Sam didn't look at her. "Because you don't sit on the floor." An hour passed like a benediction. No outbursts, no rocking. Leo even accepted a blueberry from Chloe's hand, a miracle wrapped in silence. Chloe giggled. "He likes me." "He does," Sam said, his voice thick. "He's choosing you." Leo drew 3 stick figures, one with glasses, one with braids, one with a severe bun. Chloe pointed. "That's me, that's Daddy, and that's your mom." Leo didn't answer. He just colored the 3rd figure's dress, a deep emerald. Maya stepped forward. "That used to be my favorite color," she said softly. Leo paused. Then in the quietest voice imaginable, he whispered, "Still is." Maya's knees gave out as she sank onto the edge of the bed, her hand covering her mouth, her breath trembling like a taut violin string. Sam didn't move. Sometimes healing sounded like a whisper. Sometimes it looked like a charcoal drawing. Later that evening, Sam stood in the hallway folding the blanket. Maya approached holding 2 mugs of herbal tea. "He called it emerald," she said. "He hasn't identified anything in over 3 years. He didn't identify it, Sam corrected. He remembered it. Big difference. Maya handed him a mug. You think I missed all of this because I didn't sit on the floor, I think Sam said gently. You've been standing so long you forgot how to kneel. She laughed once dry and sharp. That's profound. It's also true. They stood in silence. Then Maya asked, Were you always this gentle? Sam looked at her. No, I used to fix things. That was my calling. My wife was the gentle one. What happened to her leukemia? 3 years ago she was diagnosed, and then she was gone before I could commit to memory the way she said goodbye. Maya blinked. I'm sorry. She used to say something whenever our daughter had a challenging day. Sam added, eyes distant. She'd say, don't elevate your voice, lower your body. Maya stared at her tea. Perhaps I've been doing both incorrectly. Sam smiled faintly. You're here. That's not insignificant. She met his gaze for the first time, not as a CEO, not as a woman in control, but as a mother, frightened, imperfect, and yearning to get it right. I want to learn, she said. Sam nodded. Then start by asking his favorite color tomorrow, even if you already know the answer. That night, Maya watched Leo sleep, his tiny fingers still wrapped around a golden pencil. I never knew silence could be so profound, she whispered more to herself than anyone else. Down the hall, Sam kissed Chloe's forehead as she drifted off on the guest bed. He looked out the window at the gleaming skyline and whispered back, Sometimes silence is just love awaiting its moment. Tell me again why we're doing this. Sam adjusted the collar of his only ironed shirt, glancing at Chloe through the rearview mirror. The girl was grinning in the back seat, her arms wrapped around a zippered tote bag. Because it's courteous to accept dinner invitations, Chloe said matter-of-factly. And because Mr. Leo asked if I'd return. Sam smiled, but his heart was thrumming. Dinner at the Thorne penthouse. A soft evening sun cast a rose-gold glow over the high-rises as they parked near the valet entrance. A man in a sleek uniform opened the door for them. Sam stepped out with a paper-wrapped bouquet in hand. Wildflowers from the community garden, a detail his late wife would have insisted on. Always bring a touch of nature when you're entering someone's world, she used to say. Chloe jumped out with quiet anticipation. Do you think he'll talk again? I don't know, Sam said, but I think he'll listen. They were greeted at the penthouse by Maya herself, dressed not in a power suit, but in a simple navy tunic and comfortable slacks, barefoot again. You brought flowers, she asked, surprised. For the space, Sam replied, It needs something vibrant. She blinked. I suppose that includes us tonight. The dining room, once a cold expanse of marble and glass, had been subtly transformed. A round table had replaced the long, imposing executive one. The overhead lighting had been softened. A single candle flickered gently. Leo sat at the table. Already his hands folded a charcoal pencil tucked between two fingers like a comfort object. Chloe slid into the seat beside him and whispered, I brought something. From her tote, she pulled out a small hand-drawn menu with whimsical foods, smiling grapes, dancing toast, a sun made of macaroni. Leo's lips curved upward. Maya watched the exchange like she was witnessing a delicate enchantment. Dinner was served. Simple soft foods. No complex sauces, no steam. Leo's plate matched Chloe's. And Sam noticed something else too, the absence of Maya's phone. Tonight, she said, noticing his glance, I'm only reachable in one language. Sam chuckled. That's progress. For the first few minutes, silence presided over the table. Then Chloe asked Leo, do you want to draw after dinner? Leo looked at his plate. Chloe waited. Leo reached out, picked up a soft piece of baked sweet potato, and placed it in his mouth. Sam froze. His heart stilled. Chloe smiled like it was the most natural thing in the world. Yay, twinsies. Maya exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for her glass. Sam leaned closer and whispered, He didn't eat this morning, did he? Maya shook her head. Or yesterday. He's choosing this, he said. This moment, this company, this quietude. Maya's eyes welled. Why do I feel like I've missed every pivotal step? Sam didn't answer. Instead, he said, Let him lead. The children finished their food slowly. Leo hummed once a single note, almost like punctuation to the moment. Then he reached over and touched Chloe's hand. Maya gasped, not loudly but sharply enough for Leo to flinch. Sam held up a palm. It's okay. It's okay. Leo looked at his mother, then at Sam. Then he said, clear, quiet, and beautiful. Golden. Maya dropped her fork. Sam swallowed hard. He remembers the bubbles. Leo nodded once. Chloe whispered, he speaks in colors. That's how he feels safe. Maya's lips parted. Her voice broke. I used to sculpt before I started the company. Clay with gold leaf. My studio walls were painted golden. Leo didn't forget, Sam said gently. You did. Later, the children played in the adjoining room. Leo gently stacking blocks while Chloe narrated imaginary stories about shimmering kingdoms and cloud princes. Sam stood by the kitchen island washing dishes with sleeves rolled up. Maya joined him holding a towel, drying silently. I thought I had to secure his future, she said finally. The elite schools, the top medical minds. I built him a fortress so nothing could touch him. But maybe I also built the walls too high for me to reach in. Sam passed her a wet plate. It's not too late. She dried it slowly. He called you golden. He nodded. That's a good thing. Golden is his comfort. Maya glanced at him. What color am I to him? Do you think Sam paused? Emerald still is. She let out a trembling laugh. Emerald can be stark. It also signifies life growth, he said. Sometimes the very element that feels rigid is the one that roots. She stared at him, and then quietly. Why are you still unattached, Sam? He raised an eyebrow. You truly want to ask me that while I'm wrist deep in your sink? She smiled. You could have accepted my offer of employment weeks ago. I didn't want a job. Then what did you want? He rinsed the last plate. To be meaningful again to someone who truly needed me. She held his gaze for a long time, then nodded almost reverently. You are, she said softly. You're transforming us in ways financial power never could. Sam dried his hands. I'm not transforming you. I'm just showing you the aperture. And if you don't know how to step through it, then sit on the floor with your son. Let him lead. As he gathered Chloe's things to leave, Leo looked up from his drawing and said something no one expected. Dinner again. Sam stopped mid-step. Maya's hand went to her mouth. Of course, Chloe said. Next Thursday. Leo smiled, and the room, for the first time in years, felt like a home. Do you have a moment? Sam barely looked up from the mop bucket when he heard the voice, low, calculated with a silkiness that originated from too many media briefings and insufficient candor. He turned. Victor Sterling, Apex Innovations PR strategist, stood near the janitor's closet in a tailored suit that seemed allergic to humility. Sam wiped his hands on a towel. Not really, but something tells me you're going to take it anyway. Victor smiled like a man accustomed to being obeyed. There's a narrative circulating. A certain CEO, a certain maintenance professional, a certain emotionally complex child. Sam's jaw tightened. You mean Leo, I mean optics. Victor glanced at the hallway cameras. Your presence is misconstrued. It provokes queries. He's finally eating drawing speaking. If that provokes queries, maybe the wrong people are asking. Victor stepped closer. Look, I'm not here to contend. I'm here to counsel. If this persists, it could jeopardize Maya's standing. You comprehend the fragility of trust in this sphere. Sam stared at him. You believe I am the threat to her credibility. Victor gave a tight professional smile. She's exposed. And you. Your unconventional background, undisclosed. No corporate credentials. No affiliations. A single father who works night shifts and brings garden flowers to dinner. Sam didn't flinch. And yet, somehow, her son speaks my name. That landed. Victor's expression faltered just for a beat. Let's not complicate matters further, Victor said. Take a leave quietly. Let the headlines cool. Sam leaned in, voice calm but firm. Leo doesn't need less of me. He needs more of what I embody. Victor raised a brow. And what precisely is that someone who doesn't require him to perform to believe he is valuable? That evening, Sam and Chloe were preparing dinner when a message buzzed on his phone. Access to Apex Tower, suspended pending review. Management. Chloe looked up. We're not going to see them tonight. Sam tried to mask the disappointment in his face. Not tonight, Bug. She went quiet then softly. Will he think we stopped caring? Sam exhaled, the weight heavy in his chest. I hope not, but sometimes grown-ups construct barriers when they're afraid. Across the city, Maya stood in Leo's room, staring at the silence. No humming, no color on the sketch pad, no pencil between fingers. Just Leo rocking again softly, head bowed. Maya sat down on the floor beside him, unsure. I didn't prevent him from coming, she whispered, but I didn't fight hard enough to keep him either. Leo didn't respond. Maya reached for the sketch pad and gently set it between them. Can I draw with you? Nothing. I don't know how to mend this, she said. I thought protecting the company would protect you, but perhaps I was protecting the wrong thing. Still nothing. Then Leo picked up a black charcoal pencil. Maya watched as her son drew 3 figures, 2 standing, 1 missing. Her hand shook. I'll fix this, she whispered, even if it costs me everything else. The next day, Maya showed up at Sam's apartment unannounced. Chloe opened the door with a wide-eyed gasp. Miss Maya knelt completely out of breath and slightly windblown. "Is your dad home?" Sam appeared behind her. "I didn't expect to see you here." She looked up at him. "They've frozen your access. They're threatening to reassign your contract. I figured." "I didn't stop it," she said quietly. "That's on me." Sam studied her face. She wasn't here as a CEO. She was here as a mother on the brink. "I told them I'd depart if they touched you again," she continued. "They didn't take it well." Sam blinked. "You'd truly risk all that?" Her voice cracked. "I already risked losing Leo once. I won't do it again." Chloe pulled gently at Maya's sleeve. "He didn't eat last night, did he?" Maya shook her head. Chloe whispered, "Maybe he's waiting for us." They returned that evening. No security, no press, just quiet. Sam carried a thermos of warm soup and soft rolls. Chloe carried a new set of art pencils, one with iridescent tips. Maya opened the door this time without hesitation. "He's in the same spot waiting." Sam stepped in heart-thrumming. He entered Leo's room slowly. He was sitting in the corner again, pencil in hand, but no movement. "Hey, little cloud," he said softly. His head lifted, one blink, then two. Sam sat down, unscrewed the thermos, and let the scent of mild butternut squash soup drift through the air. "Nothing elaborate," he said, "just comfort." Chloe sat beside him, held out a single iridescent golden pencil. "We missed you." Leo reached out slowly, took it, and drew a shaky circle on the floor with it. Then he whispered, "Dinner again, please." Sam looked up at Maya. She was crying, but smiling. "I'll never let them come between this again," she said. Sam nodded. "Then let's start building something stronger." Maya wiped her eyes. "No more barriers. No more barriers," he said. "Only doorways left open." The envelope was thick cream-colored and embossed with the silver seal of the Superior Court of New York. It sat like a warning flare on Maya's marble kitchen island, untouched, unopened, but radiating dread. Sam glanced at it as he rinsed dishes. "That the matter?" Maya nodded once. "Leo's father is filing for emergency custody." Sam dried his hands slowly. "After vanishing for 3 years, he says, I've become unstable that I'm exposing him to questionable figures and non-professionals." Her voice trembled. "He means you." Sam leaned back, arms crossed. That man wouldn't recognize Leo if he drew him a name tag. Maya exhaled sharply on the edge of laughter or collapse. "He's affluent, influential. His attorney used to clerk for the judge." Sam walked around the island and leaned in gently. "Do you want me to step back?" Her answer was immediate. "No." "Then we contend." She looked up at him. "I don't know how." "You don't need to," he said. "You just need to stand beside him, and I'll stand beside both of you." The courtroom smelled like old paper-stale coffee and apprehension. Leo sat quietly in the gallery beside Chloe, clutching a sketch pad. He wore golden. Chloe held his hand like a lifeline. Maya stood before the judge in a navy suit, not designer, but grounded. No ostentatious jewelry, no towering heels, just a woman divested of armor and clinging to truth. Across from her, Julian Thorne sat with a smirk carved into his face and a legal team that looked like they'd rehearsed this conflict. "Your Honor, Julian's attorney," began Miss Thorne's emotional state, "has deteriorated. We have photographic evidence of her involving a maintenance worker, one with no clinical qualifications, in repeated unsupervised interactions with a vulnerable child." Sam didn't flinch. The attorney continued, "She's disregarded professional medical advice in favor of bubble games and drawing therapy." Chuckles echoed from the gallery. Maya stood taller. "And what has Mr. Thorne contributed in the past 3 years?" the judge asked. "Financial provision and room to maneuver," Sam muttered under his breath. "Room to disappear." Maya's attorney rose. "Your Honor, we don't deny Miss Thorne's methods have evolved, but so have the outcomes. Leo has spoken. He eats, he draws, he connects, all of which hadn't occurred in over 2 years. And the man he's connected with, Samuel Green, is here today. He'd like to speak." The judge nodded. "Allow him." Sam stood, walked slowly to the witness stand. Every camera clicked. Every whisper ceased. He sat, looked at the judge directly. "I was a special education teacher for 10 years, he began. "I left the classroom after my wife passed, and I couldn't face the echo of my own loss in every child who needed more than I could give." He glanced at Leo. "He brought me back." The courtroom held its breath. "Leo doesn't need more labels. He needs fewer barriers. I didn't treat him. I listened. I knelt. I matched his silence with my stillness. And in return, he trusted me." He turned to Julian. When's the last time he looked you in the eye? Julian fumbled his cufflinks. Sam continued. You think the suit makes you credible, but Leo doesn't care about titles. He cares about cadence, about presence, about who enters his world without fracturing it. He looked at the judge. I'm not here to parent him. I'm here because he taught me something every specialist overlooked. Sometimes the most therapeutic thing you can do is stay. Silence. Then the judge nodded. Thank you, Mr. Green. Sam returned to his seat. Then softly, Chloe stood up and walked to the judge's bench. Whispers erupted, but the judge raised a hand. Chloe looked up at him with wide, resolute eyes. Can I say something? The judge bent down. You may. She held up Leo's drawing, a trio of stick figures, arms linked under a sky full of stars. This is Leo's family, she said. That's me. That's my dad. That's him. He doesn't talk much, but he says, we're golden. That means safe. Maya wiped a tear as Leo reached out and touched Chloe's hand publicly, visibly, a gesture louder than words. The judge leaned back silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. Effective immediately, Leo remains in the custody of his mother, Maya Thorne. Any further action will require extensive psychological review and family therapy in which Mr. Green is welcome to participate with full transparency. Gasps, flashes, silence. Then Leo turned to Maya and whispered, Stay golden. Maya nodded, eyes shining always. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed, cameras flashing like lightning. Sam shielded the children with his body. Maya grabbed his hand without thinking. A journalist shouted, Miss Thorne, are you in a relationship with the maintenance worker? Maya paused, looked at Sam, then answered, I'm in a relationship with authenticity, and he's been living it far longer than I have. Sam smiled quietly. Leo nestled between them, held Chloe's hand and didn't let go. No barriers, no titles, just color, just connection, just family, building itself one quiet moment at a time. The blueprints were still warm from the printer when Maya slid them across the table. Sam stared at them, brows furrowing. You're serious about this? She looked up. No hint of her old corporate coolness, only conviction, purpose, and something deeper. You once said Leo didn't need perfection, just presence. So I want to build a place that reflects that, a space where kids like him don't have to prove they belong. He studied the plans. Open concept rooms. No assigned seating. Textures mapped by color, not category. Soundproof nooks for retreat. Soft lighting. No buzzing fluorescence. At the top, bold and unwavering. The thorn green oasis for inclusion, not correction. Sam leaned back silent for a long moment. I used to sketch rooms like this in notebooks, he said when I was teaching before life grew louder. You still believe in it? She asked. I never stopped, he said. I just stopped thinking anyone else did. Maya folded her hands. Help me build it. He hesitated. You're asking a maintenance worker to design a therapeutic center, he said slowly. I'm asking a father who listens before he speaks, she replied. That's rarer than any degree on my payroll. He looked at her, something tender surfacing beneath his caution. This room, he whispered, tapping the plans, won't just change children. It'll change their parents, their educators. It might change people who didn't know they were fractured. That's the objective, Maya said. I don't want to just assist Leo. I want to reclaim the silence I once filled with noise. Sam nodded, then smiled. Then we build it, he said. Construction began in a quiet old building that used to be a storage facility. Once forgotten, now filled with the sound of something new being born. Chloe helped paint stars on the walls. Leo, surprisingly, wanted to help too. He painted golden, always golden, but one day added a streak of deep violet in the corner. What's that? Sam asked. Leo paused, then whispered, Peace. He choked back emotion. Yes, he said exactly that. Maya started spending evenings on site wearing jeans and carrying color swatches instead of spreadsheets. One afternoon, she sat with Sam on a stack of unused carpet rolls, sweat on her brow, dust in her hair. I don't recognize myself anymore, she said. That's not a negative transformation, Sam replied. She looked at him. I used to think love was performance top rankings, perfect presentation, flawless proposals. Then this little boy entered my life and said nothing, but taught me everything. Sam nodded slowly. Children don't care who you are, only how you show up. She hesitated. Do you think this center will be sufficient? He turned to her gently. Nothing will ever be sufficient. That's the secret. But if you pour love into it without needing acclamation, it becomes more than a structure. It becomes belonging. She smiled, but it faded into something else. I'm afraid, Sam. If this falters, if I fail again, what happens to him? Sam didn't hesitate. Then we fall with him, he said, but we fall together. That's the distinction. Opening day arrived under soft morning skies. Balloons floated above the entrance. The sign gleamed under sunlight. The thorn green oasis. Below it, a small plaque. No labels, no tests, just time, trust, and tenderness. Families arrived, hesitant at first. Parents holding tight to children, educators observing carefully. But inside, everything felt different. No one asked what diagnosis a child had. They asked what sounds they liked, what colors soothed them, what made them smile. Sam moved through the rooms like he'd always lived there. He showed a father how to use gentle hands with his overstimulated son. He knelt beside a girl who didn't speak, matching her breathing rhythm until she giggled. Chloe led a group in drawing cloud patterns on the window. Leo sat quietly on a beanbag, humming to himself, but not alone. 2 other children sat beside him, mimicking his tune. Maya stood in the corner, overwhelmed. I envisioned this room, she whispered, but I didn't believe it could truly thrive. Sam stood beside her. It's thriving because you stopped trying to control the atmosphere. She turned to him. You know what I feared most, what that Leo would never call me mom. He was quiet. Then she added, voice thick, but lately I'm starting to hope he never has to, because love like this, it communicates without labels. Sam looked at her for a long moment. You've become the oasis, he said softly. Unlabeled, unafraid. She laughed quietly. You always articulate things that sound like they belong in a verse. He looked at her. Maybe because life finally feels like one. That night as they locked up, Maya lingered at the doorway. Sam turned the key, then looked at her illuminated by the glow of the new sign. Thank you, she said. For what? For helping me construct a place where I could finally meet my own son. Sam didn't speak. He just stepped beside her, their hands brushing slightly but deliberately as they looked at what they'd built. Not a monument, a momentum, not a center, a genesis. The old community garden had been neglected for years. Its benches cracked, its soil hardened, its vines tangled like forgotten ambitions. But today, it was alive again. Sam knelt in the earth, hands, dirty sweat trickling down his neck as he guided Leo's small fingers around a seedling. Chloe was nearby, gently pressing soil around another sprout. And Maya, yes, Maya Thorne was wearing jeans and sneakers, her hair tied in a loose ponytail, holding a trowel like she'd wielded it her whole life. This place was her vision, Sam said quietly. Maya looked over. Your wife. He nodded. She used to say that kids with diverse needs flourish best in natural settings, places that didn't ask them to diminish themselves. Maya looked around. You're bringing it back. I think, Sam replied. It's bringing us back. Leo crouched beside a patch of marigolds, humming softly. He's been choosing golden more often, Maya noted. Sam smiled. It's the color he paints serenity with. Then Leo stood, walked to the mural wall they'd just finished repainting, picked up a brush, and without a word began painting a streak of deep violet. Chloe gasped. That's not his usual. Leo paused, glanced back at Maya, then kept painting. Violet rays from a golden sun stretching across the wall, like a dawn he was no longer afraid of. He's adding depth, Sam whispered. Maya's throat tightened. It's the first time he's chosen a warm color. Leo turned around, walked to his mother, held out the paintbrush, and spoke. You do one. Maya's hand trembled as she took it. Where, she asked gently. Leo pointed. Next to mine. Maya dipped the brush in a soft terracotta hue and made a single stroke beside her son's. Then, after a pause, she added another. Leo smiled wide, genuine and radiant. Sam stepped back, watching them side by side. You've crossed over, he said softly. Maya turned. Crossed where from trying to penetrate his world to letting him construct one with you in it. She looked at him, a question in her eyes, but he just smiled and nodded toward Leo. He's the visionary now. Later, as the sun dipped behind the horizon and cast the garden in amber light, the 4 of them sat on a worn bench. Cracked wood, peeling paint, but perfectly imperfect. Chloe leaned into Sam. Do you think this place will always grow? I think, he said, brushing a leaf from her hair. It already is. Maya watched Leo collect small wildflowers and line them in color order. He used to do that with cereal, she said quietly. Sort it by shape, then by color, then cry if I moved one. He wasn't being difficult. Sam said he was trying to bring order to a world that never asked him how it felt to live in it. Maya nodded slowly. I never asked either, but you're listening now. She looked at him. Sam, when this all began, I saw you as a temporary solution. He raised an eyebrow. Thanks. She chuckled. I mean it. I thought you were a phase, a moment, a mistake. I was too weary to correct. And now, she looked toward Leo. Now I think you were the first right thing I didn't control. Sam turned toward her fully. Why are you telling me this? Because something shifted, she said. Not just with Leo, with me. He didn't speak. She continued. Before you, I filled silence with noise conferences, projections metrics. I thought if I controlled enough, I could outmaneuver the isolation. And now, I don't want to maneuver anything anymore? Sam looked at her for a long moment, the garden air holding them like a pause in a symphony. He spoke softly. There's a difference between building walls and planting roots. Maya nodded, tears forming. I think I'm ready to root. Leo walked over holding a piece of paper, a drawing. 3 figures holding hands. One had braids, one wore glasses, one had a ponytail and a smile so vast it nearly reached the paper's edge. Above them was a sky filled with golden and violet stars. Sam read the small caption scribbled at the bottom in shaky handwriting. Home is when we all fit in the same picture. Maya pressed the drawing to her chest. Sam wrapped an arm gently around her. Chloe leaned her head on Maya's shoulder, and Leo, quiet Leo, whispered something so soft it felt like music. Let's stay here forever. And in that moment, they all silently agreed. They already were. The photograph was blurry but condemning. Maya Thorne barefoot in a garden laughing. Next to her, Sam's smiling shirt sleeves rolled, hand gently brushing hers. A child's painting hung behind them, vibrant and raw, and in bold accusatory letters across the top of the tabloid. From boardroom to Bubbles' apex, Innovation's CEO falling for her maintenance man. The article dropped at 7:42 a.m. By 8:03, it had gone viral. By 8:15, Sam's phone buzzed with a message he didn't expect from Maya herself. Don't speak to the press, I'll handle this. But the look on her face when she arrived at the center said otherwise. She was pale, lips tight, phone glued to her palm. They're demanding my resignation. Sam exhaled. The board half of them. And Victor. Her voice cracked. He says I've compromised our brand, that I've... She broke off, swallowing the words. Blurred lines. Sam nodded slowly. And what do you think? She looked at him, eyes rimmed red. I think I'm tired of being a brand. They stood in the hallway of the thorn green oasis, surrounded by drawings taped to the walls. Scribbles, laughter, vibrant color, none of it corporate, all of it authentic. I can resign, she whispered quietly, gracefully. We protect the foundation. We protect you. Sam's expression darkened. No, you've seen the repercussions. I've seen a boy who now paints violet suns. Maya looked away. Sam stepped closer. You want to walk away to protect this place? I understand, but don't deceive yourself and call it noble. The center wasn't built on image. It was built on presence, on staying. She blinked hard, jaw trembling. Then what do? You stay. Even when it's chaotic, even when it's unjust, especially when it's personal. She folded into herself. I don't want Leo to be a headline. Sam softened, then remind the world that he's a child, not a controversy. There was silence. Then Sam asked, would it alleviate pressure if I stepped back? Maya turned to him so fast he barely saw it coming. Don't you dare. His breath caught. She took a step closer. I don't care what the press says. I don't care what Victor says. I care what he says. She pointed toward the playroom. And he says your name like it means safe. I won't take that from him. Not again. Sam's voice lowered. Then we face this together. But outside, the storm had already arrived. Protesters stood on the sidewalk. Reporters crowded the entrance. Photographers with long lenses captured every moment. Some signs lauded the foundation. Others read maintenance agenda. Protect Leo from PR experiments. We trusted her. She betrayed us. Inside, the boardroom boiled. Victor paced at the head of the long glass table. We afforded you every chance to restore your image, but instead, you intensified the drama. I invested in people, Maya said evenly. You invested in a liability. Victor snapped, glaring at Sam. He may be well-intentioned, but he's not qualified. Sam didn't speak. Not yet. Victor turned to the board. This center is a passion project. It's become a spectacle. Donors are withdrawing. Stock has declined. We can't endure another week of this. Maya stood. Then I resign. Gasps echoed. Victor smirked. Astute move. But she wasn't done. I resign from you, not from this. Victor's brow furrowed. I've constructed boardrooms. I've negotiated multi-billion-dollar contracts, and not once did I feel as proud as I did watching my son say peace in violet paint. Her voice cracked, but she held steady. I was mistaken about what leadership entails, but I'm not mistaken about this place. She turned to the board members one by one. Dismiss me if you need to protect your portfolios, but I'm not abandoning the only thing in my life that's finally growing." She looked at Sam. "And I'm not abandoning the man who reminded me that love doesn't request permission." Then she walked out, head held high. Sam found her minutes later sitting alone on the stairs behind the building. Her hands shook. He sat beside her. "You sure about that exit?" he asked. "No," she said, "but I'm sure about you." Sam looked at her. "That may be the bravest thing anyone's ever said to me." She smiled through a tear. "You know what frightens me most? What that I didn't just fall in love with you. I grew into it." He was quiet for a beat, then whispered, "Good. That means it's resilient." A moment passed, then another. She looked up. "If we lose everything funding support media favor, what do we do?" Sam reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper, a child's drawing. Leo's 3 figures holding hands, one in an emerald dress, one with braids, one with glasses, and in the corner, a sentence in shaky handwriting. "Don't go. Stay golden." He handed it to her. "That's what we do," he said. "We stay." Maya clutched the paper to her heart. For the first time in days, she didn't feel like breaking. She felt like fighting. Rain was falling in sheets the morning Maya called the press conference. Not soft, forgiving rain, not symbolic cleansing, a full-throated storm, the kind that made people stay inside unless they had something worth standing in the rain for. Maya stood at the podium in front of the thorn-green oasis, hair pulled back, no makeup, no designer coat, just a simple dark sweater and rain-slick jeans. She looked like a woman who had nothing to market, but everything to convey. Cameras pointed at her like lenses of judgment. Microphones stood at attention like sentinels. But Sam, watching from the sidelines with Leo and Chloe, saw something different. He saw a mother, a warrior, a woman finally stepping into her truth, not to defend herself, but to embrace others. Maya gripped the edges of the podium and exhaled. "I've been asked by my board, by my PR team, by my investors to account for myself." Click, flash, murmurs. She went on to explain why I permitted my son to be seen in public, why I let a man without a medical degree become his closest confidant, why I, the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, would kneel on the floor and paint stars on a wall. She paused, scanning the crowd. "I could offer you a statement, a bullet-pointed defense, but I won't." Her voice steadied, "because I'm not here to explain myself. I'm here to remember who I forgot to be." A hush fell. I forgot what it meant to decelerate, to truly see my child, not as a patient or a dilemma, but as a person brilliant, exceptional, worthy, and I forgot what love looks like when it doesn't need to be perfected or performed. She gestured behind her toward the glass doors of the center. "And that man you all wrote about, the maintenance worker." Her voice softened. "He taught me how to listen, how to kneel, how to meet my son where he is not where I hoped he'd be." She glanced at Sam, their eyes locked. "And if standing beside him cost me everything I built from the top floor up, then maybe it's time I remember the foundation matters more than the penthouse." The reporters froze. No one dared interrupt. Then Maya smiled faintly. "My son paints in colors. He used to choose only golden, safe, quiet, small. But last week he added violet, and he called it peace." Her voice dropped just above a whisper. "And if peace means kneeling in the earth with someone who sees you fully, I'll stay there gladly." One reporter raised a hand cautiously. "Miss Thorne, are you stepping down?" She shook her head. "No, I'm stepping up. Not as CEO, as Leo's mother, as a woman who finally understands that leadership isn't about being followed. It's about creating space for others to walk beside you." A second hand shot up. "And Mr. Green? What's his role now?" Maya smiled fully this time. "He's not an employee. He's not a consultant. He's not someone I hired." Then she looked straight into the camera. "He's family." The video went viral within hours, but not like before. This time the comments weren't cruel. They were deeply human. She said what no executive ever dares to admit. "We need more leaders who sound like mothers." I watched this with my non-verbal son beside me, and for the first time in a while, we both felt recognized. Sam stood in the hallway of the center that evening, watching Leo finger paint alongside a boy with Down syndrome. Their laughter filled the air like wind chimes. Chloe skipped up beside him. "He drew a sunset today with amber and scarlet." Scarlet, Sam asked. "He usually avoids scarlet." Chloe grinned. "He said scarlet's not frightening anymore 'cause scarlet means brave." Sam blinked hard, heart full. Maya appeared in the doorway, leaning against the frame, arms crossed, but her eyes soft. "You were right," she said. "About what?" She stepped forward. "That this wasn't about me saving him. It was about letting him save me. Sam nodded. You listened. That's all it took. No, she said it took you. Your presence, your stillness, your refusal to leave. She stepped closer. I told the world you were family, but I want you to hear it from me, not a podium. She reached for his hand. Stay, Sam. Not for the center, not for Leo, not even for me. Her voice shook tender and true. Stay because you want to. Sam looked at her eyes, glistening. I've already unpacked, he whispered. Maya smiled. Then Leo's voice, clear, strong, called from inside. Daddy, Mommy, look, we made a rainbow. They turned. Leo stood in front of a giant paper canvas streaked with color from one end to the other, and in the center, 3 stick figures holding hands beneath the arch. Scarlet, golden, violet. Maya's eyes welled. Sam whispered, he's painting in every color now. Maya leaned her head against his shoulder. He finally feels safe enough to be all of himself. Outside, the storm had passed, and inside the room glowed. Not from lights, from love. 6 months later, the thorn-green oasis pulsed with life. The grand reopening had attracted local schools, therapists, and families across the state. But it wasn't the banners or balloons that made the day special. It was the hum of something deeper belonging. In the central room, a circle of children sat barefoot on the floor, drawing with chunky pastels on butcher paper. No one asked them to sit rigidly. No one corrected how they held their crayons. Each line was its own language, and no one was compelled to interpret. At the front of the room, Sam knelt beside a boy who was tapping his pencil rhythmically on the floor. You feel it in beats, huh? He said with a smile. Okay, let's create a rhythm out of colors. The boy lit up. Across the room, Leo floated between stations like a quiet breeze. His golden was still present on his shirt, his shoelaces, but so were the ambers, the lilacs, even deep scarlets, a spectrum stitched from courage. And he spoke not constantly, but clearly. Today he was giving a tour to 3 new kids. He pointed to the reading nook, then to the textured wall filled with sensory panels. This one's like clouds, he whispered, letting them feel the soft cotton. Maya watched from the glass door, heart full. She turned as a news anchor approached with a cameraman in tow. Miss Thorne, ready for your interview. She smiled but shook her head. No interviews today, but it's the grand reopening. I know, she said softly. That's why I want the focus to be on them, the children, not me. She turned and walked back into the room where Sam was showing Chloe and Leo how to fold paper stars. I think you just astonished the press, Sam whispered as she approached. I'm learning to let silence articulate, Maya replied. Thanks to both of you. Chloe grinned. She used to speak in PowerPoints. Now she speaks in hugs. Sam chuckled. Growth. Then he looked at Leo, who had just finished folding his star. He handed it to him and said simply, for golden. Sam blinked back tears. I'll cherish it forever. Chloe chimed in. I made one too, but mine's for violet for peace. Maya took a breath, knelt down, and folded her own. She handed it to Leo. Mine's scarlet for bravery like yours. Leo placed all 3 stars together and said, family. No one spoke for a moment, not out of awkwardness, but reverence. Then from across the room, a soft bell rang. It was time. The ribbon-cutting ceremony had been scheduled, but Sam had insisted it not be formal. Let the kids cut it, he'd said. They built this. So now standing beside the rainbow mural at the front entrance, Leo and Chloe held scissors together. The ribbon wasn't corporate blue, it was every color they'd ever used. Before they cut it, Leo turned to the crowd and without prompting, cleared his throat. My name is Leo, he said. His voice shook slightly but didn't falter. I like colors. I like stars. And this place is for anyone who ever felt like a puzzle piece in the wrong box. Silence. Then applause broke like thunder. Tears, smiles, parents hugging silently. The ribbon fell and the thorn-green oasis officially opened, not as a building, but as a movement. That evening, the 4 of them shared dinner on the rooftop of the building. Pizza sodas, mismatched paper plates. The city lights twinkled like scattered jewels below them. Chloe chewed thoughtfully. Do you think we'll always reside near here? Sam glanced at Maya. She nodded. I think we'll always belong here. Leo leaned his head on Sam's arm. Home, he whispered. Sam kissed the top of his head. That's right. Maya looked at the 3 of them. The wind picked up, gently blowing a folded paper star across the rooftop. She chased it, caught it, held it in her palm, and whispered almost to herself, I never knew love could be this quiet and still convey everything. Sam stood beside her. You know what the most profound part of this entire journey is? He asked. What I came into your world thinking I had to instruct you how to kneel. He turned to her eyes, kind, but somewhere along the way, you learned how to stay. She touched his hand. You didn't mend my son. You didn't fix me. You reminded us we were never broken. He smiled. You just needed a place without labels and people who refused to leave. They stood in the fading golden light, paper stars scattered at their feet. A little boy who once hid in corners, now painting skylines, and a world that, despite its clamor, had finally learned how to listen. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the city, Leo's voice carried on the breeze. Tomorrow, let's paint the sky. Sam and Maya looked at each other, smiles widening. Yes, Maya whispered, let's. The story of Maya, Sam, Leo, and little Chloe isn't just a tale about healing. It's a quiet reminder that sometimes the greatest transformation begins when we stop trying to fix things and simply choose to stay. It teaches us that connection doesn't require perfection, that love can be soft and still powerful, and that true belonging is never about fitting in, but about being seen exactly as we are. And what about you? Have you ever met someone who showed up in silence but changed everything? Have you ever realized that maybe the gentlest moments are the ones that stay with us the longest? If this story touched your heart, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. Tell us what moment moved you most. And if you believe more people need to be reminded of the quiet power of presence, feel free to share this video with someone who might need it. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep bringing more stories that speak gently but deeply. Thank you for being here, for listening, for staying.
Join us to share meaningful stories by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to start your day with profound lessons and heartfelt empathy.